Hi witchlings, welcome back to my channel. It is me, your local chaotic witch aunt. And today we are doing a video on what to do if a spell backfires. Now, if you have been watching my content for a long time, you know that I have had one very significant backfire. And that is when I tried to do a lemon curse on someone in high school and tried to hang it outside my window. So it was exposed to the elements. And the lemon fell off my window and rolled down the roof into the gutter outside my parents' window. And I accidentally gave my family bad luck for 4 years. I finally got rid of it in 2021. And I did the spell in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. Maybe 2016. It may have been 5 years. So this is what to do when a spell backfires. I of course have my little notey notes on my phone. Because why not? Why not? Before we get started, I did want to give a quick shout out. I am wearing a binder today. I don't know how well you can see it. I'm very much enjoying it, and I just wanted to, if anyone else in this community is non-binary, gender fluid, etc., genderqueer, and you're looking for a binder, I am here to say this is the first one I've tried and I love it. It is by For Them, and this is not a sponsorship, by the way. I literally just love the binder. It's custom made. They ask for your body type and your, like, the biggest part of your chest when you completely exhale, like inhale, where the measurement is. It is like super comfortable. I've forgotten that I'm wearing it. And with sports bras, since I have a small chest, I typically wear sports bras when I want to appear less, want my chest to look flatter. And this one is way more comfortable. This binder is more comfortable than most of my sports bras. So I very much enjoy it. I've inhaled, exhaled, absolutely no pain, no tightness. It is genuinely, like, I love it. So since I am a smaller person with a smaller chest, I cannot speak for what it will be like for someone with a different body type or a bigger chest, or how flattening it'll be, but I can speak to the comfort. It's very comfortable. These are, now my body just looks like pecs, like voluptuous pecs. You can kind of, that's pretty good. Living my life out as the little boy that I am. Anyways, moving on. What to do when a spell backfires? Because we all have that situation happen pretty frequently. I don't know how frequent it is for some people. Okay, so there are a few things that you should probably start by doing. The first thing is to assess the damage. Whenever a spell backfires, I go into how bad is it mode, and usually you can tell a spell has backfired because of things happening, or if you're like me, you just didn't dispose of it properly. If you're looking for like how to dispose of curses, I recommend the following statement. Don't shit where you eat. Don't do the curse in your house. Don't do the hex in your house. Don't do anything in your house. And you won't have a problem. Go find a public park and do some curses there. Actually, I don't know if you should do that. Is that illegal? Hold on. Is casting spells in a public park illegal? I got nothing. I mean, I like to find a nice little like woodsy area, nice public park somewhere after dark. If you were in Colorado, I really don't recommend that because wild animals are here. Like when I lived near Philadelphia, I could go to like a wooded area after dark and not have to worry about coyotes. Now I worry about coyotes and bears and mountain lions. So really depends on the area, but overall just don't do it in the house. Find somewhere else to do it. Find a neutral ground away from your house. Many of the powders, oils, and curses from this book, and use it in your practice without doing some extra research. I also have a video that I did with Olivia, the Witch of Wonderlust, that we talked about beginning baneful magic, and we talk a little bit more about kind of going into curses, but otherwise, this is besides the point. I've already talked about this. We're talking about what happens when a spell backfires. Furthermore, assessing the damage is like, is this a minor backfire or a major backfire? It could be a minor backfire, which I consider to be like, you just have some bad luck, or maybe things aren't going the way you planned. And if things aren't going the way you planned, I rarely ever consider that like a backfire. I consider it, well, the spell's kind of just working in a different way than I expected. Especially if you are not being harmed by that outcome. However, major backfire would be like 5 years of bad luck on your family. So depending on the spell that you do, you're probably going to be looking at minor or major backfire. And if you don't have anything happening yet, but you kind of feel an inkling that this spell didn't go the way you wanted, or like it rolled out in your gutter, or you didn't dispose of it properly, you can kind of preemptively guess what the backfire is going to be, depending on the spell and depending on how it's being backfired. So major backfire versus minor backfire assessing damage. You can do a tarot spread about this. I love doing tarot spreads about everything. Just check in with the cards, see what the cards are saying. Do a vibe check. See how everything's going, how your life looks right now. If it looks like it's in shambles when it shouldn't be, it's time to begin the deconstruction process. Now, this is what I mean by deconstruction. The next step after assessing the damage is looking at undoing the spell. So undoing the spell is gonna be very particular to what kind of spell it is. A lot of times, if it's completely organic ingredients, you can burn it. Some people reference burying it if it's completely organic. If you're gonna bury it away from your house, get away from your property. I like burning it because it's very cleansing. It's very like, it gets rid of everything, all the vibes. You can do a physical undoing, a physical deconstruction. I actually have a spell jar that hasn't backfired, but I do need to deconstruct it. What you're going to do when you're deconstructing something in a jar, if it's backfired, you can just throw the entire thing out, but if you want to deconstruct it, it's taking out the insides and dumping the rest in the trash and then cleaning the jar. You can do a curse reversal or a sweeping ritual. That is in Utterly Wicked. I have to find it. Here we go. It's called the Swifting of Energy. This is for if you may have been the victim of a hex or curse, or if you're having a particularly nasty bad run of bad luck. This is the spell for you. But yeah, starts on page 132 and goes till about 136. So it's a 2-page ritual. There's also a section after, and then they also talk about life is messy, clean it up, after cleaning up the spells, basically because the idea is that the residue of the curse or the hex will stay on you, and then alternative cleansing. That's the other step here, is cleansing your shit. When I say cleansing your shit, I mean use what you have on hand. Sound cleansing, smoke cleansing, vacuuming your room, a floor wash if that's in your practice. I love using a little roux water in the 4 corners of my room. I go ham with cleansing, okay? You are disposing of the spell, you're taking it apart, you're deconstructing it, you're burning it, you're throwing it out, you're burying it, you're undoing it, and then you are cleansing everything. Dorothy Morrison recommends a beer bath. You can do a bath. I like to do just a dump of herbal water over my head. And I have done purification baths like this where I have like a cooled down simmer pot of herbs and I just go whip and I just dump it all over me and gets everything off. You're gonna just cleanse the shit out of your space when this backfires, because if it's already backfired or you're expecting it to backfire, there's a chance that there's residual energy everywhere or in certain corners or somewhere. If you don't have the ability to smoke cleanse, use sound cleansing. If you don't have the ability to sound or smoke cleanse, vacuum. Vacuum that shit up, mop. Just clean everything. Do your bed sheets, like dust, do the full 9 yards. And then obviously cleansing yourself as well, bath, shower, spiritual cleansing, etc. From there, I always like to do a kind of dual cleansing and protection of myself and my space. So I will probably, after a spell backfires, after I've cleansed, and if I'm doing a spiritual bath or doing a dumping of herbal waters over my head, I am going to make sure there are some purification elements and protection elements to this spiritual bath or spiritual shower. Because I want to be purified, but I also want to be protected. And then I will probably redo some protections around the house. Now, if you do all of this and the spell still is kind of like sticking, you're still having bad luck, time to do a curse reversal, time to do some sort of reversal, you don't want to do return to center, some kind of reversal. If you want, you can do this reversal earlier in the process after the undoing of the spell, do a reversal. If you want, you can just take a red or black pillar candle, you can work with that. You can do sigils, you can create your own petition, you can just reverse all of the energy back to when you hadn't done the spell yet. Reversals are tricky because within a reversal we have a return to sender, we have reversing curses. The goal is generally not to return it back onto you because it's kind of already done that, but to reverse the backfire. And so you have to be very particular about your language, very particular about what you use in it. You want to say, I reverse the effects of this spell that has backfired on me, or of my spell that has backfired on me. You're reversing the effects. That's very specific. So when can spell backfires happen? That's a really good question. Like I said, we have sometimes the spell doesn't go the way we planned, and a lot of people may look at that and say, that's a backfire. That spell has backfired. That's not what I wanted. For me, depending on the outcome, on whether it's like, ooh, I really didn't like that, but I understand why that outcome happened, or, oh, this is not going the way I planned in a bad and negative way. That's how I consider it to be a backfire or not. Sometimes things just don't go the way we planned. Spells just don't go the way we planned. And we have to sit here and kind of be like, all right, is this really a backfire? Is this just the spell kind of working in whatever way we need it? Any spell, in my opinion, has the potential to backfire. Of course, we're dealing with more major backfires when you're doing something like a curse or a hex or baneful magic, and it backfires on you because suddenly all of that ill intent you had sent to that person is thrown back into your face. That's when we consider like more dire actions. If you're dealing with a minor backfire, let's say you do a spell to help resolve a conflict in a relationship, and what ends up happening is the friendship ends. Is that a minor backfire, or is that the universe, your spirit guides, your deities, whoever you called upon to help you in that spell, telling you that this relationship just needs to be resolved, period? And that's the thing, is when we're looking at backfires, we're weighing the damage. Is this damage, or is this just an outcome I didn't like? Is this a backfire, or is this just something I didn't expect? And that's kind of how you move about reversing or dealing with a spell backfiring, is that's kind of the first step. I think that I've had situations in which I petitioned an entity for help with something, and what ended up happening is I don't know how to explain this. I have done spells to help me in certain areas, and what ended up happening is I just stopped worrying about it as much. It just stopped being in the forefront of my mind. Which I think, honestly, that's not necessarily a backfire, that's just an outcome I didn't expect. I didn't expect to do a spell to help me with something, or petition St. Jude to help me do something, and then I just end up being like, you know what, this isn't really that important. Actually, that kind of sounds like, if you're petitioning a saint and then you realize something's not that important, that sounds kind of in line with saint work. Welcome to the club. You may just end up realizing you do the spell and then you're like, you know what, this isn't important, why am I so focused on it? Or it just kind of fades into the background of your little mind. And I say little mind because my little mind is always going, it's always ruminating, it's always anxious, it's always thinking worst case scenario. So to recap, just to recap, when a spell backfires, you're going to assess the damage, you're going to undo the spell. This could be a physical undoing, a curse reversal, a swifting ritual to swift away energy, and then you're gonna cleanse the shit out of your space. After you cleanse the shit out of your space, you are going to redo protections. In these kind of things, I'm giving examples of what I would do, but in reality, every spell that backfires is gonna be different. You may have a spell that you completely burned, and now you're like, I don't have anything to physically undo, so you're just gonna hop over to doing a reversal and a cleansing and a protection. You may have something that you've already gotten rid of. You already disposed of the ingredients in a way that means you can't get them back. Okay, you're gonna hop to a reversal, a cleanse, a protection. There's so many different ways to do this because there's so many different types of spells. And I mean, we always kind of sit here and say, you hear very frequently that the ones that will backfire the most often, I hear a lot that if you do a curse, a hex, a jinx, it's going to come back on you threefold. It's going to backfire. Every spell has the potential to do that, in my opinion. In some situations, I do think that there is a potential to just not work. And that's another element. Is this a backfire or did the spell just not work? Which if the spell didn't work, revisit the spell. What about it is an obstacle? Is this a spell that's right for you right now? Is this something that you need? Is there a spirit you called in that's not cooperating? Did you use the wrong method of delivering the spell? Or was there something where it wasn't the right time and it wasn't the right spell for you? Because sometimes that happens, and that's okay. I've had so many spells that just don't work because they just didn't work. And then I've had spells that I have had work, but to the detriment of me. Because once you give a 16-year-old witchcraft, you never know what they're going to do with it. Yeah. I'm just thinking about all the spells I did when I was 16, and I'm internally cringing a little bit, which is okay. But yeah, this is what to do when a spell backfires. And like I said, you assess, is it a backfire? Did it just not work? If it is a backfire, is it minor or major? It's like like one of those flow charts. Sally, draw me a flow chart. No, actually don't. That's gonna take so much time and I don't want you to have to do that. But flow chart. Is this a backfire? Is this not working? Is this just an outcome I didn't expect? And then you go to backfire and you just go down. I love flow charts. I think I actually had a flow chart in my old spell book that was basically, should you curse this person? See if I can find it somewhere, but that is what you do in reference to a spell backfiring. If you have something to add, if you have taken care of a backfired spell before, I want to hear how you do it, because obviously this is from my experience and very much based on how I deal with spell backfires, as well as kind of pulling from other books, etc. And I want to hear about you and what you do when a spell backfires. So let me know in the comments. Let me know if you liked this video, what other videos you would like to see from me in terms of intermediate practices. Or this could even be beginner, because no one told me how to undo a spell when I was a beginner. Everyone says, never cast a spell you don't know how to undo, but then no one actually tells you how to undo anything. So this is my video saying this is how you undo it. This is what you do. Cast safely. Thank you so much for watching. If you want, you can like, comment, subscribe, or turn the bell on, but absolutely no pressure. Remember to drink water, please. I'm drinking so much water. Have a great rest of your day. Sa benedica.